Properties of real numbers. In properties of addition, a closure property says that if a and b are real numbers, then the sum c is also a real number. So a plus b is equal to c. For example, 11 plus 8 equals 19. Since 11 and 8 are real numbers, if you are going to add them, it results to another real number, which is 19. Addition has commutative property, which says that if a and b are real numbers, then a plus b is just the same with b plus a. So for example, 2.1 plus 5, if we're going to interchange this, it becomes 5 plus 2.1, it will not affect the value because 2.1 plus 5 is 7.1, 5 plus 2.1 is still 7.1. Therefore, the order of the addends will not affect its value, and that is the commutative property of addition. Addition has associative property, which says that if a, b, and c are real numbers, then quantity a plus b plus c is equal to a plus quantity b plus c. So for example, quantity 2 plus 5 plus 1 is just equal to 2 plus quantity 5 plus 1. Look at the addends. 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1. But they were in different groupings. So this parenthesis, it says that we will prioritize or perform their operations first. So in here, we will start with 2 plus 5, and that is 7. Then added by 1, that is 8. On the right side, we will start with 5 plus 1 because it is enclosed with the parenthesis, and 5 plus 1 is 6. Added by 2, that is 8. Notice that they have the same value. It means that the groupings of the addends will not affect its sum, and that is the associative property of addition. Addition has identity property, which says that if a is real number, then a plus 0 is equal to a. A real number added by 0 will not be changed. Example, negative 8 plus 0. Since it is added by 0, the answer is still negative 8, and that is the identity property. Inverse property says that if a is real number, then there exists an opposite real number, and that is this symbol negative a, and that is called the additive inverse of a, such that a plus negative a, that is equal to 0. A real number added by its inverse, it is always equal to 0. Example, 5, which is a real number, added by the additive inverse of 5, which is negative 5, it is equal to 0. Multiplication has also a closure property. If a and b are real numbers, then the product ab is also a real number. So a times b is equal to ab. For example, 3 times negative 8 is equal to negative 24. We have here two real numbers, 3 and negative 8. When we multiply them, it results to another real number, which is negative 24. Multiplication has also commutative property, which says that the factors a and b are real numbers, then a times b is just the same with b times a. So for example, we have here 2 times 5, that is just the same with 5 times 2, because the order of the factors will not affect its product. 2 times 5 is 10, 5 times 2 is also 10. So multiplication has commutative property. So multiplication has also associative property. If a, b, and c are real numbers, then quantity a times b times c is just the same with a times quantity b times c. For example, so we have this given 2, 5, 1, on the other side 2, 5, 1, but the the groupings are different. So we will start with 2 times 5, and that is 10, multiplied by 1, that is still 10. On the other side, since there's a grouping symbol here, we will prioritize this. So 5 times 1, 5, then 5 times 2, that is still equal to 10. Therefore, even though they are in a different group, their values are not affected. So the groupings of the factors will not affect its product, and that is the associative property of multiplication. The identity property of multiplication says that if a is a real number, then a times 1 is equal to a. Example, 8 times 1 is equal to 8. So any number multiplied to 1 will not be changed. Properties of multiplication. In zero property, If a is a real number, then a times 0 is always equal to 0. Example, 5 times 0, it is equal to 0. Multiplication has this distributive property of multiplication over addition. And if a, b, and c are real numbers, then this is how it looks like. If a is multiplied to b plus c, or quantity b plus c, that is just the same with quantity a times b plus quantity a times c. And that is by distributing a to both b and c. So a times b, we have here a times b. Then the sign is addition. So we have addition here. Then multiply this same a to c, and that is a times c. So if you're going to distribute this over addition, you will just get the same value or product. For example, so we have here 2. If we're going to distribute this to the binomial, to the binomial here enclosed by a parenthesis with respect to addition, so 2 times 3, that is 2 times 3. 2 times 5, we have 2 times 5 here. Notice that if we're going to solve the left side of the equation, we will start with 3 plus 5, and that is 8. Write down 2. Then on the other side, 2 times 3, that is 6. 2 times 5, that is 10. Then write down plus. 2 times 8 here is 16. On the other side, 6 plus 10 is also 16. Notice that they have the same value. And that is the distributive property of multiplication over addition. And lastly, the inverse property. If a is not equal to 0 and is a real number, then there exists an opposite real number 1 over a, and it is called multiplicative inverse or reciprocal, such that a times 1 over a is equal to a over a, because a times 1 is a, then just copy this a, then a divided by a, that is equal to 1. Example, so 12 times 1 over 12. So 12 here is our real number. Its multiplicative inverse is 1 over 12. Since we know that every number, it has a denominator of 1, so its reciprocal is 1 over 12. Now, if we will multiply them, 12 times 1, that is 12. Then 1 times 12, that is 12. And 12 divided by 12, that is equal to 1.